This video is going to be a film study look at how Seattle's defense was able to go in and complete the sweep against the Arizona Cardinals, this time on the road in Week 14. A 30-18 win, their largest margin of victory in this four-game win streak, now pushed their record to 3 games above 500, heading into a home matchup against the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to talk about how hostile, fast, and aggressive so many guys were on that defensive side of the ball. I think I've got 12 plays queued up here. Really going to cut the analysis about mid-third quarter, for no particular reason other than to cut the video length at 20 minutes or less. Ernest Jones, the fourth, had an interception. Kobe Bryant had an interception. Multiple guys along the defensive front, I think, played quite well. Reed, Hankins, Derek Hall provided consistent pressure. Boye Mafe is going to have a couple of pressures in this video as well. Leonard Williams had 7 tackles. I did think that Riq Woolen's coverage could be characterized as the weaker element in this particular game, and I think that's a good thing. If you're a Seattle fan, A, you know how talented he is. B, it only takes one snap of the football, one throw. Doesn't even have to be errant for Riq Woolen to make a play on it and change the tone and momentum of the game. For him to, at least in this game for me, look like the weaker link on the field, that is pretty telling for the quality and brand of football that Mike Macdonald's defense is playing. Get right to the film here, and I will have some spot shadows and or information labeled. This is going to be Ernest Jones' interception on the second possession of the game. Arizona's already gone down to take a 7-0 lead. Seattle's matched it by getting a field goal to close to 7-3. This is what I would consider to be Mike Macdonald's kind of patented man combo look to the boundary, and he just plays so many versions of cover 3. It kind of doesn't surprise me that a guy like Kyler Murray, and only his second time seeing some of this, would make these mistakes. So Ernest Jones is actually opening to the bottom side of our screen, to the right side of the defense, left side of the offense, and once Kyler Murray sees that, he thinks that he's got this patented man that Mike Macdonald plays, which is linebacker on the running back, in this case into the boundary, and then Riq Woolen, the boundary side corner, on the X. So he thinks he's clear of any impact that Jones can make. And as he pulls the pin on the grenade, lo and behold, Ernest Jones IV turns his back, picks it clean. That's one thing I notice about this catch and Kobe Bryant's catch, is that clean catches of the football, no bobble, no drops, obviously. You can see that Jones's back, or his head, is looking this way. His back is turned to the receiver. In this case, I believe it's Marvin Harrison Jr. He opens back to it, able to get the interception, played 5, 6, 7 different versions of cover 3. In this particular version, you're going to see Knight push to the flats. Now, he could be responding to the running back in a man relationship. Additional to that, Ernest Jones is going to push to this hash. But again, his eyes, his chest are open in this direction. I think that's what Kyler Murray sees. Initially, off screen, the safety is going to push down. I would call it insert defense. So he'll insert on the hash, essentially taking over the inside linebacker drop, with Knight pushing to the flats into the boundary. It, quote, looks like man into the boundary. So Kyler Murray sees Ernest Jones, the force back is turned, sees the safety, in this case Jordan Love, in the middle of the field. You guys don't really necessarily see all of his body. You catch him right there at the bottom 7 on the very next snap. In fact, the 19-yard touchdown pass from Geno Smith to JSN. What I think is interesting about this interception, well, a couple of things. Pre-snap, you've got Woolen and Julian Love, pointing that they know that Moore is going to motion. So check out Woolen and then Love. They're essentially telling the guy, go ahead and do your motion, go across the field. So that's pretty cool, number one. Number two, I think you've got a version of man down to the boundary here and here. There's a mix-up at the top side of the screen, unfortunately. And that mix-up is either Devin Witherspoon or it's Job or Joby. You can see Witherspoon has matched Moore, who went in motion. And then across the field deep is the route that's going to be targeted. Fortunately for Seattle, Branch had earlier this year, I believe against the Minnesota Vikings. But the way that everything matches up, you got Woolen man there on, I think that's Wilson. Love matching up with the tight end. Linebacker matching up with the running back into the boundary. Free runner here. Only thing is for Arizona, unfortunately, He's covered up by Bryant. And there also is a penalty on the play. Derek Hall played really well. He played exceptional in this game. Gets a second interception on the third possession. They're able to go down, I think, go up 17-7. Fast forward here. This is the fourth possession for Arizona. They've now reached down inside the red zone for Seattle, facing a 3rd and 8. And this is the glitch blitz. So you got multiple defenders for Seattle lined up at the line of scrimmage. In fact, you've got 7 of those guys lined up at the line of scrimmage. And 2 of them are going to drop out. Typically, it's defensive tackles. Faking the blitz. You can see the 2 D tackles have dropped out. Williams and Reed will pull this back. This is not a read by these D tackles. So they're not reading the offensive lineman, in my opinion. They're just occupying, such that the nickel blitz off the edge from a mathematical standpoint is able to make it there. Think trickle-down effect. Kyler Murray kind of pump fakes, and you guessed it, it is Derek Hall with the pressure. That warrants a penalty there. Just felt like Love was playing football. So Derek Hall gets the pressure against the left side of the offensive line for Arizona. Williams and Hall are going to drop out, try to get in windows, and I think that has something to do with this throw being a flyer for Kyler Murray. He's just trying to get it over the top of people, keep it safe so he doesn't turn the football over. Moving forward here, we're into the 5th possession, second quarter. First play of this drive is going to be a play action out of 13 personnel, and Mafe gets the initial pressure off the bottom side of our screen. But Hankins is the guy who finishes him off. So everybody's working this way. Fullback coming back across is supposed to go get Mafe. They're in their base defense, though, so the difference here is Mafe doesn't have to chase on a run concept away. They've got requisite numbers in the other 6 guys in their 3-4 that Mafe can peel off, go to the quarterback, create pressure, essentially destroy the play. They also had things very well covered up, if you ask me, on the back end. Witherspoon passed this route off and then fell back off into the flats to take over that over-under concept. Nothing there for Kyler Murray. Takes a sack by Hankins. Same play from the end zone angle. Base 3-4 on the field. Williams, Hankins, Murphy. They've kicked them to the field for whatever reason. Mafe untouched, able to get past the tight end. And then Hankins finishes him off for the sack. That led to a punt on the 5th possession in the second quarter. Seattle was still unable to score in that situation. Moving forward here to the third quarter, we're again just focusing on the defense. And the one thing I want to point out before I break down these plays in the third quarter, I'll do 2 possessions here in the third, is how many guys are involved. You know, this isn't intentional where I was like, hey, let me pick one play for each of 7 or 8 or 9 different players to try to highlight how they had an impact. This is just organic, me going through and grabbing, all right, I'll get some third downs. I'll get any tackles for losses. I'll get some QB pressures. And there's just so many guys that are involved. Uchenna Nwosu was back on the field. Didn't notice him from a QB pressure standpoint, but in terms of depth, that's a good thing to have him available. Mafe and Hall, I think, are handling those duties out on the edge unless they're in that 3-3 look. If you're interested in that, I did a video last week, week 13, about the 3-3 look where Mike Macdonald and the defensive staff leave 3 defensive end / defensive tackle guys on the field with 1 outside linebacker, as opposed to a nickel look where you got 2 D tackles and 2 outside linebackers, 1 on each side of the defense. Like I said, third quarter here, 1st and 10, and you got nickel personnel on the field for Seattle against 12 personnel. Downhill run concept. Murphy ends up going to a knee. As a result, the center is able to get out to Knight, kind of get in his way. Connor goes downhill for an 8 or a 9-yard gain. We'll get you the end zone angle so you can see what I'm talking about. Murphy ends up getting dislodged by the center and the guard. And as a result, the center is able to work up. He's taking a knee in his double team technique. Center is able to work up to Knight, who kind of evades him. Jones is fitting this on the backside, and then Knight is cut off. You can see the lane that is here. It played a bigger role in that 8 or 9 yard gain, creates a 2nd and 1. So Mike Macdonald and the defensive staff respond with their base defense. On the previous snap, they were in a nickel look. Now they go base defense against 12 personnel. This is going to be Byron Murphy's playing a little bit of what I would call backdoor technique. That is that's Leonard Williams there. They're going to try to take him over with the guard and watch Murphy kind of fit on the backside of the center's block. I'll pause it as this goes through so you can see what I mean. So they almost get Williams taken over, and then Murphy stays on the backside of this block. But he's doing a great job of just running the center to the play side. So essentially using the center to not allow Connor to cut downhill. And then Williams, I would say, is functionally two-gapping, able to go over the top at the last second, make the tackle, and he's so great at this violent. Like I said, I think he had 7 tackles on the day, didn't make any game-changing plays like we're used to the last 2 weeks, but nonetheless still made an impact. This is the ensuing 3rd and 2 after that tackle for loss, and it's 13 personnel for Arizona. But the interesting thing is Seattle is responding with their nickel defense. They were just in their base defense against 12 personnel. Now, Arizona's brought in an extra tight end, 13 personnel, and Mike Macdonald, those guys went nickel defense. It's so interesting to me, the games they're playing, how they're getting this done. In fact, they do get the stop here. I think I suspect that Nwosu is supposed to stem down a little bit more than he even did, but the refs actually did call this tight end for being off the line of scrimmage, hence illegal formation, so the play actually did not count. Get you the end zone angle so you can see what I'm talking about. Incredible effort here by Reed. I think Nwosu is supposed to stem down and almost long stick this. So long stick means go 2 gaps away from you. It's I wouldn't ask my players to do it because it's difficult to do, but NFL and high-level college guys do it all the time because I think they're trying to exchange Jones over the top. You can see you've got 3 guys essentially in the same gap. Fortunately for them, Reed makes a great effort, fold him back inside after stemming or slanting himself. They get a stop that didn't count, like I said, because of the penalty. Arizona, I feel like he really gave the left tackle Paris Johnson difficulty. That drive ended in a punt, obviously, after that second penalty, and Seattle was still able to retain their 24-10 lead. This is going to be the last possession I talk about. Arizona actually goes down and scores here to close within 27-18. Excuse me, in the third quarter. But there again, I just think there's so many guys making plays, being active and hostile. This is going to be an empty formation, and Knight up at the top side of the screen is going to match up with Marvin Harrison Jr. Seattle's up 17 points. And this is going to be man-free versus motion coming across. So they've matched this correctly. Job took the X receiver, and then I think that's Love matching up with the motion man. And Reed gets the pass defense or pass knockdown at the line of scrimmage. You'll get the end zone angle to confirm it. 5 speed, I was like, where'd that ball go? It just kind of disappeared. I mean, talking about during the broadcast version. The fact that there's so many guys at the D-line position playing this aggressive, knocking passes down. Leonard Williams has been doing this for a month. Well, he's been doing this for a long time, but at a high degree of a cast. And executing so many different concepts. This is going to be a brilliant example of it, if you ask me. I may not do it justice trying to explain it. I think it's a version of a 3-deep, 2-under. I'm used to and I'm comfortable explaining 3-deep, 3-under, essentially a zone blitz concept. This is just batshit crazy, really. 3-deep, 2-under is what it turns into. And Seattle's been really good at these safeties dropping down on third down and then making tackles coming forward. I think you guys as Seahawks fans even took me a while to recognize that was not the case for the Seahawks prior to Mike Macdonald's arrival, or at least 2023 defense. It's a 6-man blitz, so mathematically, I am correct in calling this a 3 deep, 2 under. I just don't know what the heck they're calling the coverage. My suspicion is, let's do it this way. If Moore was to be the target on this underneath drag, then Rick Willen would put his foot in the ground and come downhill to try to make the tackle. Essentially the same thing that happens here with the running back making the catch and Bryant coming downhill to make the tackle. He actually misses it. The offense appears to have addressed or tried to clean up their offensive line issues, which are well documented, number one. Number two, began to establish a running game, at least this week against Arizona, began to establish a running game that they could rely on and remove or alleviate pressure from Geno Smith to have to make so many decisions / great throws, all while navigating pressure in the pocket from a line that for most of the season has had difficulty in pass protection. If the defense is in fact getting better, if you accept my assertion that it looks cleaner, they look faster, the players aren't actually faster, they're just reacting quicker. They're recognizing things sooner because of the coaching, because of the game prep, because of their recognition on the field. At the same time that's occurring, the offense might be taking a step up as well. That's got to be, number one, encouraging and pleasing for you guys as Seahawks fans, and number two, not good news for the rest of the teams that are on their schedule, because what it could mean, I should say, is the Seahawks team that we thought we knew at 4-5, 5-5, 6-5, 7-5 might be a different animal now that they're 8-5, 3 games over 500 once again. We'll get a chance to figure that out and find out if that is actually true when they face the Packers this week. Like I said in a couple of my videos on Monday, I'll attempt to do a video preview on the Packers-Seahawks game for Week 15. I'm not sure if I'll have time to complete that. If I do, it will probably be a late Friday night, early Saturday morning endeavor. Appreciate you guys' time. In the comment section, if you wouldn't mind, please let me know what you think of the plays that I used to illustrate the quality of defense the Seahawks played in their Week 14 win over the Arizona Cardinals. If you think I should have picked some other plays or illustrated something else, feel free to let me know. Finally, if you think other Seattle Seahawks fans would enjoy this film study look at their defense going into Arizona and intercepting Kyler Murray twice, stopping the run for large stretches of the game that did give up 120 on the ground, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.